Hi, Patreon. It is me. Well, you know who the hell I am. And it's been a while. It's always been a while. It's amazing how time flies so quickly. I guess when you're having fun, I'm not having fun. I'm having a great time. And I'm constantly doing something. Before I even get into what has been being done, what I'm working on currently. Side note, this is like my rendition of a traditional kunai. It's done out of one piece of spring steel. I don't know any of the terminology. I bluebled the edges. See how thick it goes to how thin it goes. So I bluebled that, and I beat this one so it goes, which is wrong. Historically, from the ones at least that I've seen and I'm trying to replicate, this is totally parallel, and the little blueble here kind of goes mush a little bit actually on this, and because it goes mushed here, this side looks a little fatter, and it's the problem of looking at a two-dimensional picture. So these are going back in the forge, and I'm going to go smush, and I'm going to punch a hole through this so I can have a traditional kunai. Non-traditional kunai. This is kind of Naruto based because these kunai are just amazing, but I needed it to be a Batman. I need a Batman kunai. This is still a spring steel. It's a little different. I think this has got not as much carbon as this one because this came off of a really strong part of a tractor. This paste came off of a spring action, so it would have been the stuff that's digging up the ground. It's really nice steel to work with. I want to work on... This is cut out, and look at that. Isn't that amazing? Like, you look at that and go, wow, he really makes things look difficult. It's wonky. That side's one size, that side's the other side. And I'm spilling my tea. I'm totally trying to tell you about what I've been working on, and I'm just showing you my toys. So this is going to go back in the forge. This, and I'm going to go wider. This is 1.5 inches. I want to go to 2 inches. And as you can see here, I've got some holes drilled in. Like, look how straight that is. Is that not the saddest thing you've ever seen? It's not right. Like, this poor little... Look how sad he looks. Oh, but we'll get him pretty. So I'm going to widen this up and then use those holes to drill. Those are drilled. Use a small saw to come up and cut this out. So there's the update before we actually get an update, but please pause. As I've spilt tea all over my... I can't have that. That just bothers me. So it's been, I think, like a year. Last November, I put a proper update. I'm terrible. On the farm, really not a lot has happened. I have been mostly in the forge. As you can see here, this is a workspace that's actually even clean. This is a clean workbench, which is specifically for you, Patreon. Yes, you're welcome. I know you didn't ask for, but you got it because, my God, this is usually piled full of crap. And due to film magic, that table, that corner, and over there now house all of the items that were once resided here. This table is also clean, which is rare. Normally both of these are just filled up. So I've been busy. I will be updating in this video itself, just in a little bit, the updates of my forge. So that started off as, God, I think it was like a run shed, a garbage shack, and of course, my computer died with all the original pictures of it looking like crap. So the only ones I can really share are for the majority of a clean looking building, which in the end, who really cares? More importantly, it's how it's set up with all of my tools, and they're beautiful because they're all in one spot. I'm giving like the side information now. So I've got like a little forge area in the forge. I got a wood shop area. I got a bench area, which for the most part, like this table, I just end up placing a bunch of crap on. Fun part, it still leaks condensation. It's got a dirt floor. So when it's 2 different temperatures, we do get a little bit of rain coming in. And sometimes the floor still floods, which is excitement when you can forge in rubber boots because you're standing in a puddle. Yeah, but it's mine and I can go out there whenever I want. So I don't really care until I get to build a new shop, which is in the future, like probably a few years away. Oh, I'm always building something. It's great. Oh, biggest news. That's a great way to start a sentence. I forge weld now. It's pretty great. After what, like 17, 20 years, 26, 20, wow, 18 years of blacksmithing. And I understood, okay, very first day, introduced to a forge, it was like, hey, can I work here? It doesn't work. Can I fix it? Sure. Then can I use it? Why not? And I tried forge welding it first day, and I spent like an hour making garbage. None of it worked, because of course, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even know the words forge welding. I just saw it on the video. You take steel, you mush it together, you get one piece of steel. Couldn't do it. It's taken years of learning and very little practice, and there's the problem. I didn't practice it. I just had the understanding. So as of like a month ago, it was like today I am forge welding. I am practicing it all day, and I'm going to keep practicing it until I get that weld. And after about 3 attempts, the steel started to, it's amazing. Because you take steel and you heat it up to just before liquid. The carbon starts shooting out. It's like a beautiful little fireworks. And you pop it out, you smash it. And if it's at the right temperature with the right heat, you get a beautiful, this ring of, really, it's just impurities and slag and such. But it just exits, and it makes just this wonderful sound. You go back in the forge, heat it back up to that temperature, whack it again. Normally, I should get to the point where one good hit should do it. I don't trust myself yet. I do 2 good hits because it's like measure twice, cut once. In this case, it's heat twice, hammer twice. So it's actually nothing like the measure once, cut twice. Cut twice, measure once. Such a good craftsman. I feel that's it, as nothing has really changed with the property. The studio's still coming on. The forge is where it is. Anime North is coming up, favorite show of the year. There's going to be a lot of prep for that. And in this video, I plan to put on at the end the projects that I've been working on little by little. So I'm having a new, now that I'm in one space and all my work stuff is in this place, my computer works properly, my camera, also my phone, works properly. And I actually have a little bit of time. Oh, and a tripod. Apparently that's, every time I get things set up and then I lose things. I'm so efficient. I'm recording everything now. The idea is to do a bit of a video diary, because just to write it down seems, well, I'm not sharing it with anyone. And I want a way to record the nonsense I participate in almost on a daily basis. It's definitely not a standard way of existing. And I quite enjoy it. Where one day I will be forging a piece like a kunai. The next day I'll be fixing an oil heater, to the next day working with horses, and then back to training in the martial arts, to the next day back to be forging. It's all over the place. Like parentheses here, when I was younger living in Mount Forest, there was like the local news article, weather, astrology, astronomy, and a bunch of other words that really make no sense because it's a little local paper. It's just silly, but you read it because it's fun. But in this local paper, there was a gentleman from like early 19th century, and it was his journal. And they just, every week, they would put a week's worth of installment of his journal, which was mostly, it rained. It's dry today. I cut more firewood. Boy, it's cold. And I was jealous of this. It's like, I would like to share in some of this. I would like to record what I've done so I can go back on. I did that on that day. I did that on that day. Oh, that's really fun. Also, like when I did it yesterday and took my computer apart, it's nice when I'm recording things because I can look back and go, oh, is that place on backwards? I think that piece is on backwards. Yeah, that piece was on backwards. Despite recording it and confirming that I had taken it off and put it back the same way, I was able to understand that. No, it was never done properly to begin with. That's so side note, the fan that is on your heatsink for your processor in your computer should always be blowing away from the heatsink. In the case of my refurbished computer, it was blowing towards the heatsink, and the heatsink was filling full of dust, which meant that my editing program would every once in a while just go to sleep suddenly. And I was pretty sure that was me. Now I'm pretty sure it was the computer, but a poor craftsman blames his tools. So with no further ado, and enough of me speaking at you, I'm going to fill you in on a few of the other projects I've been working on. Okay, bye. So here's the front of the forge. This was originally a barn, I imagine, 80 years ago. Most of those uprights have been replaced, happily, with trees that had come down on the farm. By most of those, there's I think only like 3 coming in the side. This back area with the door, that was where the tractor was for this original building. So that was last spring's project, as was getting this little area cleared. This is my rock pile where I find rocks. I find rocks everywhere. This is, as again, I'm standing in the horse's paddock.
This is the other side, and there are the two little horses that come to visit. That's Izzy on the left and Ponyface on the right. It's a full day. It's quiet here. Really, it's quiet here until I get to work. Then it's a whole bunch of racket. Welcome to the forge. There's the table, there's the anvil, there's the vise, there's my table of steel. I should do a more comprehensive video of the forge. My pile of sticks. Oh, it's great. My other pile of sticks. That log that got hollowed out by a bunch of ants. My charcoal pile, my charcoal sorter, my charcoal storage, and a big bucket of ash. Oh, the things I covet. My really big work table now. To me, that's a really big work table. And the big open space, which I store logs that I can carve and take the bark off for other projects. And, of course, the view. No tour would be. Oh, look at that view. Trees. I love trees. And in all weathers, this view just never lets me down. Okay, now on to the things that I'm working on. The actual work, not the place I'm working. The Batman Kunai I showed you earlier, here it is having the handle forged out. The blank, which was again off of an old piece of farm equipment, was about 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to forge that handle down to roughly 7/16 of an inch. Oh, the carbon, it's just a beautiful, I'm used to modern steel, and people brag about old steel, and I see what they brag about now. It moves so nicely. It holds the temperature really well. And as long as it's annealed nicely, it's like Play-Doh. It just like beautiful butter with a hammer, but it's gorgeous just the same. Also because of how gorgeous it is, I couldn't get a drill bit through it. To get the pattern I wanted, I had to drill holes through it, and I could only get through the surface. And I just applied my normal annealing. And it was forged at that point. I thought that would have been enough. So this is then being baked for about 5-10 minutes at a yellow heat. Just keep feeding the charcoal to it. And after that, again, butter. The drill bits went through no problem. Had to make a saw blade specifically for the shape, but that's a story for another day. This is the story of heat and old steel. Bo-Shuriken. I've been making this item the longest. I'm happy to say they're a lot nicer today than they used to be. This is the all-purpose tool. I find many uses for it just in my office area, let alone as a practice item for taijutsu, but even for shuriken jitsu. Of course for shuriken jitsu, but I find that seems to be an end result of this tool. There's so many uses. In the sense they're so pretty. There's 2 tapers. The one is quite small, but it's there. Getting it all even, all distributed. It just feels proper in the hand. There's something about having that texture. When I first started, it would take me a day to make 10 of these. A day. It's like, that's 2 bags of charcoal. As video me is left to straighten the Bo-Shuriken that I've forged, I'm left to ponder what this 2024 is going to look like. What am I going to achieve? What do I want to achieve? And how am I going to make a realistic goal and not just go overboard with what I think I can get done, but actually focus on making something really nice? Wow, this guy makes a lot of noise. There we go. Now you can be quiet for a moment. So with that said, what I'm saying in a long-winded way is that I plan to do at least one project that's specifically for me, that I'm not going to resell. and that potentially doesn't even have a use. That's just fun to make. Okay, bye.